Hi, it's Vince, and it's what is today? The 4th. Anyway, want to apologize. The last video I did had some real audio problems, so I didn't even post it. So kind of sorry about that. Anyway, so it's another fine day here in San Diego, and we'll talk about anything you can do as far as recovery. I would have to look back and say what I did for my recovery. Um, I showed up. I continually showed up at multiple meetings a day, asking questions. I really delved into a lot of the aspects of that. I wanted to get to the psychological part because I knew it wasn't about the drug for me. It was fortunate, I would say, that I knew there was something else going on. It just wasn't that I found this wonderful thing that gave me this relief. I knew there was something tied to it. I just never could understand it. So I guess so. I went to any lengths as far as part of that. And perfect program I worked? No, far from it. I did the major things. First off, I stopped using, which was a big deal for any of us, as we know. Um, I didn't hang around. No, I hang around some pretty scummy people. Because, see, you can still hang around scummy people in the rooms. They might not be doing dope, but they're doing a lot of other things that were not necessarily the most spiritual things in nature. I realized today that that was still another escape because, see, we all were taught back then that, we had a drug problem, and there again, I don't believe that today. I don't have a drug problem. I have a spiritual problem, and that I did not like myself. I needed to fill that void up with something. So I guess that kind of gives me a segue into what do you really believe your problem is? I don't want to hear the general thing. Yeah, I got drugs. If you take drugs out of my life, I guarantee you take drugs out of your life if you've been around here for a little bit of time. And I'll say a little bit of time is 5 years. If you've been around that, you found out you put down the drugs and or the behaviors, and you still got chaos in your life internally. You know, um, you might have a better chaos and goes on internally and externally, but it's still there. And that's what that's the trap. That's the thing addiction is going to use to get you back. It's going to just stay and wait, let you mosey down because unfortunately, if I could give someone 10 years of my 20, I'd still be okay. I could give you 10 years and get you over the hump and get you far away from the landmines and the battlefield. If I could figure out a way or someone could, that'd be awesome. But that's just not the way this is going to work. The only thing I believe people that have had some time, they can tell you the things that have gone on and more importantly, what they've observed. Because see, everything I've observed, I haven't had to go through. So, when I've worked with someone in the field and, clients along the way, I couldn't relate to a lot of things since I got clean. A lot of things I've caught up. I've experienced death. I've experienced a lot of things that I had never had the misfortune of happen. But it's called life. People die. People move on. People still betray. It didn't have anything to do with my drug addiction. Just those things go on. People, places, and things. It's not a bad thing. That's part of life. I just need to sort those out and remove those ones that are instantly dangerous to me. Someone having a heart attack and passing and having to see them in the hospital, or like with my mother, Alzheimer's. I never thought that had anything to do, but I hear so often that these things that go on bring up this emotion and bring up this fear within us that we use that as the excuse. Well, that's why I went out because the wife left me. I lost my job. There's always going to be excuses. that's just part of it. I just have to realize, and I realized right away, use dope was not going to solve my problem. It would allow me to escape temporarily, and then at the end, I don't know about you, it wasn't even doing that very well. So it was kind of a useless point. So it was either at that point find something different, and I didn't realize that in a spiritual nature, or in my life. You know. So hi Tara, how you doing? Tamara. Tamara, huh? Interesting name. I like it. Um, got any questions? Hit me up. Put them out there and I answer the best I can. And but it's just that we find that point is, I guess, people that are starting on this journey. I just want to give them so much so they don't have to go through the nooks and crannies and finding that and fighting. Because if it comes down to a war, you're going to lose. Addiction's going to win every time. It's just too powerful. So I don't play the game with it. Yeah, I have little skirmishes, but I'm not full on battle where I think I can do just one. I think I can just do this, or I think I can just do that. No, but you have to find that. And there's the basic things that we talk about in recovery, that if you go to meetings and people do meetings, that's fine, that's dandy. I look at meetings that I just got to hear people's experiences, which is great, but I never got an education about addiction, what the entity, or a lot of people call it, the disease is about, and how it works, and because the premise being, it says it right there in a book, or people talk about it, drugs are just a symptom. Drugs are way down the line for me. Addiction manifests itself in all areas of my life. And, I look back to long before I ever used, it was manifesting itself that still caused me harm, just not the harms that my substance was causing me. So once we get to that point, what if you've addicted to a toxic person of 38 years? Well, isn't that part of the disease? I look at that. I got clean and moved away, and I went back to see my daughter, and my ex-wife at that time was still active in her craziness and was always trying to get me loaded. So there was a point I couldn't go see my daughter anymore, and unfortunately for me, it manifested into multiple years till my ex got clean, because I knew that was going to be a danger for me. So I had to make that distinction. So I removed myself from that environment. I realize it doesn't sound good, because I'm her father, but I really wasn't her dad. I wasn't there. And, I got clean when my daughter was, very young. And I see that, and yeah, you've got 38 years, but what am I worth? See, I have to take care of me before I can take care of anybody else. And I've done that with people, places, and things in my life. So, I always get brave and said, well, if it's family member, it's toxic to me, I'm removing them. And I think that's just part of my nature, because I'm self-centered, like we all are at the core. But whether I'm a codependent or, self-centered, outwardly right here, it still comes down to the same point of, what do I do for me? I manipulate people by assertiveness. Other people manipulate by being, quote, compassionate or passive, codependent. So it comes down to, what do you really want out of recovery? What's it worth? What are you willing to give up? See, I had to be willing to give up everything that was not conducive to taking care of Vince. Because see, when I got clean, I didn't know I didn't love me. I would tell you I loved me. I might tell you I'm a disgusting piece of shit for my actions and behaviors, but at the core, I thought, wow, Vince is really cool. I really love me. Through this process, I found out I didn't. So, and that made so much sense when I went back to other relationships that I had, that fizzled out some point because I got to see that I took out my anger and my self-destructive nature into the relationships because I would sabotage everything. I would blow it up before I knew I was going to walk away. See, I knew I could not be there. I knew with this, I'll throw this up, this relationship with my daughter that I never had because I knew I couldn't do it. I knew at the core, I believed I was not worthy of that. Of course, later on, I discovered that's addiction. That's addiction talking to me. That's how it's going to get to me. So eventually I got to a point where I found something greater than myself, whatever that works for you. And that allowed my recovery to really start to blossom, to open up, in that, to become the person, give me an opportunity. And I have ink boards around the house and, something will pop in my head and I put it down and I just saw something today before I came online and it goes beyond recovery. And I think I'm going to get working on that. It'll be a book, and it talks about what I believe that the journey has, because there's a progression. I've broken it down with the first 5 years, and what's required to continue that journey up to 10 years, and it still comes down to so bully to homeschool, 2 marriages, kind of sweet. So there again, okay, so. Addicted type person, bullied at homeschool, 2 marriages. I'm kind of sweet. So I don't get what the I'm kind of sweet is. It kind of, I think we're all sweet in our nature when we want something. You know, unless you're just Al Capone who just, puts a gun to somebody's head, says this is what I want. Most of us manipulate. That's what we are. We're great con people. We really are. But on the other hand, when you get clean, I'm the one who is a wolf, a predator. Recovery has gotten me to, man, I'm a marshmallow. I cry at something where before I would have nothing because it didn't really affect me to the point, or I was able to obfuscate it, to push it in the background. Where today is, thanks to recovery and beyond recovery, I really get to feel. I get to be a human being, and God, that is such a blessing for me that I get to feel my emotions. But see, recovery has given me the part of my emotions don't overwhelm me. There's a nice little balance. I don't go to extremes. As far as I don't want to feel. They just had a thing on Boston Legal. I've been watching this show. I got hooked on this show. It's old. It's way gone. But she had a thing where her father has Alzheimer's. And he's in the bed. He's looking at her like I flash back to my mom looking at me and not knowing who I am. And verbally saying that, hi, how are you? Can I help you? Not knowing who I was, her son. And yeah, see, right now it's starting to make me to feel that. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm supposed to feel emotions. I'm a human being. But the emotions are never going to make me go jump off my ledge, make me go find dope. It's just not going to do that, or go spend money, even though that's an easier one to get away with. But it still is detrimental when it's in a negative, driven by a negative connotation that is addiction. Addiction is going to drive me because it needs to have you self-loathing, your hate and disgust at yourself. And if I'm really caring about me, today I get to feel the emotions that are such a gift. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. And I just wish for Christmas I could give it to everybody as a gift, even if you got to feel it just for 24 hours. It would give you something that, wow, I really want this. I'm going to go forward and work these things and whatever I need to do to ensure that I can stay around long enough. So anyway, it's just something that came up through the film today and just trying to, I don't know, get to a point of where I can show people that I really care, that recovery is just a great gift. So anyway, Tamara, thank you. And hopefully others get in there, post this and put it out there. Let's build this thing up. Well, have a good one. I will see people on Thursday. Have a good day. Bye bye.